Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to HIMediaTV. I am your host from HIMediaTV, and it is a not a unknown fact that your boy has been kind of burnt out of the Elder Scrolls Online. Now, that being said, I did see a handful of news that makes me marginally interested in giving it another shot. As you can see, yeah, yeah, downloading it. Um, Regardless, I'm hoping that this will kind of like rekindle like some of the stuff that I've seen so far like has me hopeful. So I'd like to see something, that makes me love the game again. Like I know I'm not gonna love the game how I originally loved the game. Like I can't go back to that, but I need to sort of like find a way to move into a means of enjoyment that is different.
I love working at ZOS because I have the opportunity.
15 and a half studios.
I don't care. I don't care.
Seeing
I don't care.
Players.
I don't care.
We are building on this massive tapestry of stories that we've woven in different ways that we maybe have.
I don't care.
Where we've built and supported ESO since 2007, and where we will continue to deliver great content to all of you, whether you're a veteran player or joining us for the first time today. You just heard from a few ZOS developers about what makes them proud, what inspires them, and what excites them about the future this year. We'll also go over some upcoming changes that I gave you a heads up on in my annual community letter at the end of last year. The summary of that message is that after a long and successful run, it's time to shake things up in ESO. Change the way we deliver content, but more of a focus on testing and new ideas, and ensure the game remains fresh and modern for years into the future. We'll do all this by continuing what we've always done. Listen to you, the community, on what works and what we need to do better.
Okay.
A little over a year ago, we began our celebration of 10 years of the Elder Scrolls Online. We had a lot of fun meeting you all at in-person events around the world, and of course celebrated in-game as well. These events have been wonderful and gave us the chance to look back at where the game started and how it's evolved over the years, from a subscription-only PC game to a modern, multi-platform virtual world enjoyed by over 26 million of you.
Yeah, but it's not cross-platform, so it kind of doesn't work.
ESO's success is amazing, but we never take it for granted. It took a lot of hard work over the last 10 years to get here, and we won't forget that. Now let's talk about the future of ESO. The game is strong, the studio is committed, our community is amazing, and Tamriel is so packed with things to do that it really is the best fantasy virtual world out there.
I'm not going to disagree with that. At least compared to something like World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online has a lot of horizontal progression, at least compared to like retail WoW. So I'm not going to disagree.
We have a great plan to keep it that way. At ZOS, we've always prided ourselves on how we innovate. We've pushed ourselves to redefine our virtual world several times over. And a decade in, this ambition remains strong. That's why, as some of you already know, we announced last year that we will no longer be launching annual chapters. Our first chapter, Morrowind, launched in 2017, and we've delivered a great Elder Scrolls story every year since then. We expanded the landmass, the stories, the adventures, the gameplay in Tamriel, and we've done so with a specific rhythm that you could count on. After 8 successful chapters, we've heard your feedback about wanting more variety and to shake things up.
Mainly because like every single chapter follows the same kind of story beats. Something crazy is going on. There's an underlying conspiracy of a shady group that is trying to do something bad. You start digging into the shady group that's doing something bad. You end up figuring out who's doing it, and you end up like trying to stop them. You realize like, oh, this person's not the real bad guy. Well, damn, there's actually somebody else that was either controlling them or like that is supposed, or it's not them at all. and they are like a hair's breadth away from winning, and then you come in and stop them at the last second. There are too many samey evil cults that you fight in every chapter. Like, please shake up the story.
We agree. We want to keep telling great stories, but also mix in new ideas and gameplay systems. And that's exactly what we're going to do. But we'll do this in a different cadence, one that allows us, the developers, to broaden our focus and increase variety. Instead of a single yearly major release, we plan to spend more time delivering an assortment of new content and gameplay systems aimed at enhancing the base game, making everything better for new and returning players, and above all, focusing on experimenting with new and different types of content.
So that, I think, will bring me back into it. Like, I find the new content to be interesting, but it's just like I'm going to end up playing Gold Road sometime, like tonight and this weekend, and I'll probably finish it tonight and this weekend. But that's it. I don't really feel compelled to do a lot of the side content. I don't really feel compelled to do a lot of side quests outside, it's just I don't want to do the main story, and that's kind of it. Sorry. But I think seeing expansions on old content, I think, is probably one of the better things that they can do, and that'll probably keep me engaged in the game going further.
You may have already seen some of this in action. The newly revamped tutorial,
Yep.
the graphical upgrades to the starter islands, and of course, the recent Serial Champions experiment. We've done innovative work like introducing Golden Pursuits that gives you fun challenges.
Oh, they bring champions to Cyrodiil. I didn't know that was a thing.
We're going to keep addressing long-standing player feedback items like how combat looks and feels, revamping.
I've been out of the game for a little bit. I didn't know they added companions to PvP. I will say I would like it if combat and ESO had a little more weight to it. It does feel kind of floaty.
The game's PC UI, refreshing the PC patcher, and even some new things that we know you'll love that will be announced in this show. We're very excited about all of this as it gives a future. The changes we're announcing today are a mix of old and new content styles as we transition away from chapters.
Okay.
We'll learn by experimenting by being more flexible as a development team. We'll make adjustments and we'll launch new content, but we will always work as hard as we can to keep Elder Scrolls Online fresh, fun, and memorable.
It also helps that Xbox has been forcing them to fix their spaghetti code, which has been the basis of a lot of the issues of ESO over the last decade.
Just like we've done for the last decade. In a moment, I'll turn it over to Rich and Susan, along with other members of the ESO dev team, to share more details on this year and beyond. But before I do, one final thought. All of you who watched our trailer at last year's Xbox Game Showcase probably noticed that the trailer was something new. Instead of concentrating on a new chapter or a new system, we talked about ESO as one big virtual world and told the world that you belong in it, along with that great song by Pat Benatar. This was exactly as we intended. ESO is so much more than the combat and flashy effects that we often show in our trailers. It's warm, playful, it's dark and light, challenging and fun. But most importantly, it's inhabited by you. You are welcome in Tamriel, and we all belong. This idea of you belong will be the center of everything we do going forward. You'll see it.
So what you're saying is that you're going to be putting mechanics, systems, and content into the game that is about character, that is about retention. I'm all
reflected in videos, in art, and in other ways that we communicate with you. But it's always been part of the game itself since 2014. We're just going to make it a part of everything we do going forward. Welcome to the future of the Elder Scrolls Online. You belong here.
I do like the new model of you belong here. It does feel very welcoming and embracing.
Okay, Rich, we have got a lot to cover today. So, where should we begin?
Well, even though I've known you for a good decade now, you're kind of a new face around here, so let's start with you introducing yourself.
All right. So, hello everyone. I am Susan Kapp. I am the executive producer for the Elder Scrolls Online, and I am happy to be making my first ESO Direct appearance as part of this team. So, Rich, do you want to introduce yourself too?
Sure. So I'm Rich Lambert. I'm the game director on ESO. Most of you know me as I've been with ZOS since the very beginning, and I'm still honored to be here today, more than 17 years in.
Change is a constant,
Was he at the Cosby room?
not just here in the studio, but in the games industry overall. And as we sat down to think about the tenure and something that we kept returning to.
To us, change applies equally to both new content and existing content. So in the name of change, let's start with one you've already seen tested, Serial Champions.
Serial Champions is something really special as a way for us to truly experiment. Everyone is the same, everyone uses the same abilities, no matter how long you've played the game. It is an opportunity to stretch and experience large-scale PvP.
For those not familiar with Cyrodiil in ESO, it is a massive zone for large-scale player versus player combat. It's the epicenter of the Alliance War, where players compete for control of resources, keeps, and ultimately to be crowned Emperor. PvP has always been a huge part of ESO and is one of the first areas we focused on to put our new plans into practice.
PvP players dealing with a 7-year content drought of like a 5-year content drought of like nothing, like not a lick of like a new Daedric relic in Cyrodiil, just the hammer. You know, there's absolutely nothing. The most neglected part of the player base actually getting something.
Our goal is to get Cyrodiil back to having these epic-sized battles that we saw during early launch days, which was this fun, crazy experience for all players without the performance problems that we have today. If you've been following along over the years, you'll know that we've been running many tests in Cyrodiil, and Champions is really just the next step in those tests.
It's basically trying to get to the root of why we have experienced laggy conditions from time to time in Cyrodiil. We wanted to do a test that really got down to the nitty-gritty of what we believe is the issue.
ESO, when we first launched, being able to hop into huge PvP battles was one of the best introductory experiences you could have in Elder Scrolls Online. So being able to kind of visit this and figure out how to get back to those days, that's something I'm really looking forward to.
If you're new to Tamriel or you're returning after a break, we've been polishing that experience this year. We've already updated our tutorial, and this summer we'll be introducing new welcome back.
Hold on, let me Google it because I've been so out of the fucking loop. What are Cyrodiil Champions? What are they? I don't want to do it. What are they? Well, you can switch your skills, like pets or no longer summons. Alright, hold on. What is this? What is the Avenged Things? That makes it very cool. What is this? Starting with campaigns, and like, huh? This is not the direction ESO is going. What's the other do math fails? What are they? Skills have no stamina more. Better. Those are just words of utility. Be sure to leave with almost none of the skills leave a ground effect. Most classes won't have access to a cleanse or execute skill. Both damage and heal effect. Everyone inside will have the same stats and can only be affected by the class because use and possibly keep bonuses. Okay. So what they're doing is that they're making it standardized. You can't okay. You get 100 alliance points. Destroy walls, speak doors. Okay. So are these just so Cyrodiil Champions is what is this? Oh, it's okay, so it's just simplified version. Fair enough. All right, I'm not against that. I think that's actually probably for the best.
Features to help you find your footing after a break.
Everyone knows if you set a game down for a little while and you try to come back to it months later, you're lost. It happens to the best of us.
We have so many features built in since the day we started. This welcome back feature is going to help organize those in a way that players are less confused when they come back in.
It's kind of like when there's a new season of your favorite show coming out and you need a
The player back in, slowly reintroduce them to the systems and reward them along the way. Really engage with the system.
Sent in our talented team of artists and designers to polish up and refresh the world in our starting zones.
Okay. So
I'm really
Bleak Rock,
excited to
Stros
run
Mackay,
back around
Friday
all
Night
those
Feast.
areas that
These areas look...
was a newbie.
Okay, that's
These
a bit
areas
better.
look brighter
That's a
and
lot
fresher.
better.
The water looks clearer.
That looks
Back
a
in the
lot
day,
better,
we
actually.
must have played those starter islands 10 or 15 times minimum. This refresh
wonderful.
still makes that experience feel fresh again.
That's a
so
lot
I'm probably
nicer.
gonna make a new character and go back.
That's
As you can see,
great.
you're looking at everything with fresh eyes, including the game's original storyline. In fact,
Oh?
that's where we're going next. Back to the beginning with a bold new story to tell.
Okay. So wait. I debated back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with some of my guildies that, like, no, I think that a cataclysm type of event is going to be the way they're going to go. Am I about to be proven right here?
When we arrived, the necromancers had already killed everyone. We attacked. But you see how that turned out.
They call themselves the Order of the Black Worm. They tried to drag Nirn into Cold Harbor with giant anchors from the sky. Called it the Plane Melt. Crazy time.
I am tempted to apologize for you getting caught up in all this. But something tells me the hand of fate brought you here.
Five Claw. You always arrive just when Raz needs you most.
I'm seeing Raz again.
Now that we know the enemy, the time has come to take the battle to the Worm Cult.
Let's destroy these tusking soul reapers. Find that damn snake and send her back to oblivion.
Okay.
Welcome to Seasons of the Worm Cult.
Mwah, chef's kiss. I love that we are continuing stories that we started from way, way back in the day.
I was a part of the original design team that worked on some of the main quest stuff. This is a continuation of that story that's just kind of lingering and waiting for it to be picked back up again.
It's bringing back elements of the base game story, but with a twist.
This is the
When you say elements of the base game story, you're going to be telling the same story over again. Please say no.
sequel to the 2014 base game storyline, 10 years in the making. And whether you played the original storyline or not, almost every Elder Scrolls fan is familiar with our OG big bad, Mullet Ball. The Daedric Prince and his followers, the Worm Cult, stole your soul, and it was up to you to get it back, and to stop Nirn from being sucked into his realm, Cold Harbor. In 2025, the Worm Cult returns, seeking revenge, and you will travel to a brand new island, Solstice, where evil activity is surging. Why or how the Worm Cult returned is a mystery that you'll need to figure out. We hope you're up for the challenge.
Rich, how amazing is it to be able to push forward the very first storyline that you ever worked on here?
I'd be lying if I said I knew we'd be here 17.
Most of our updates for this year will be part of Seasons of the Worm Cult, but they won't come out all at once, like we've done in the past with our chapters model. As the name implies, we'll be delivering on a seasonal cadence.
Throughout the year, Seasons of the Worm Cult will include a mix of theme story content, dungeons, and an in-game event that I cannot wait to fill everyone in on.
The story begins in June, sending you to Solstice, off the southern coast of Tamriel.
With Solstice, we are
Okay.
kind of getting a chance to explore something that I really enjoy about ESO, which is kind of digging into those nooks and crannies where the different cultures and myths and stories overlap.
Solstice has a very interesting history and visual style. It's home to a number of races, predominantly High Elf and Argonian. On the western side of the island, it has this clear Caribbean vibe, with a bright and tropical aesthetic, giant shells, and tropical forests. And as you explore the zone, you're going to stumble upon even more magical and fantastical environments. The main city in the area is called Sunport, and is run by both the Corlania Elves and the Tideborn Argonians. It's this weird sounding mix, but as you learn more of the island, it's all going to make sense.
I don't hate Argonians. I feel like they're a little misunderstood.
I like Argonians because I like the underdog. They get this kind of connotation about them, so I'm like, yeah, let me show the Argonians some love.
They are quirky, great sense
into a tropical island.
The main city of Solstice is Sunport, and it's a beautiful port city where Argonians and elves have kind of worked together.
The very first thing I noticed was the architecture. We had the big, sprawling, fantasy-like Altmer architecture that I have come to love from the base game and beyond, but it's built on top of this beautiful Argonian architecture. And my immediate thought was, something has happened here, something a little sinister.
Yeah, colonization.
It's actually a combination of a lot of Argonian and Altmers who are outcasts from their various clans that have come here and established colonies. There's even some Nord stuff in the north and a new type of Argonian architecture and tribe that we've never seen in our game known as the Tideborn. On top of all that, we also have a bunch of fun stuff like a magical carnival where people go in and may not ever come out. Into old Daedric ruins that will have little mysteries that will uncover that'll lead further and further into the story as it unfolds throughout the year.
A visit to Solstice isn't a tropical vacation.
Caribbean sun, ocean breeze, sandy beaches.
Greenery, water's nice and clear, but there's also all these things trying to kill you.
Yeah.
You have to have your sword and shield ready because it's about to go down.
The Worm Cult have established a base on the island and are unsurprisingly up to no good. Cultists roam the land, harvesting the souls of the islanders for their nefarious goals. They're led by a new leader, Wormblood, who has some questionable ties and a plan to bring glory back to the Worm Cult.
When you first arrive on Solstice, you'll learn more about the Worm Cult and ultimately lay siege to the city of Sunport to free it from their control. And this helps establish a base of operations for you and some of your allies for the rest of the story. And these allies are going to be some of your favorite characters from the last 10 years of stories.
I am super excited for a bunch of the characters that are returning. These are all characters that we've been with since the beginning. Everyone knows Raz.
Like, obviously, Raz.
He's a fan favorite. Everyone loves him. He's going to be back for adventure. We also have Scordo, who is also another kind of rough and gruff best friend that's traveled with us throughout the years. Gabrielle, Vanis Galarian, just the whole kind of main crew. As many people that made sense to return that were involved in the main storyline are coming back to go on this adventure with us.
I'm also excited to explore some characters that maybe didn't get a chance to shine in our earlier stories, like we are bringing back Prince Azah in a key role, and I think it'll be a really good opportunity to kind of build on his character.
I've heard Roz is coming back, so I'm happy to talk to my favorite Khajiit. Outside of that, I don't want to spoil anything.
I'm so excited for people.
We get introduced to a bunch of new types of monsters in Solstice. We have some new types of Argonian behemoths that have these cool feathers all across their body. They use their tail and roll around a bunch to constantly try to crush the player. There's also these stone Argonians, who are these guardians that have been reawakened over the years to protect the ruins. And then you also have these new types of Daedra that are these demonic-looking satyr-like creatures that worship Moloch Ball, and you'll see here and there, but more will be unveiled kind of as the year goes on.
In Update 46, we are releasing a new 12-person trial called Ossian Cage. Ossian Cage is this gigantic vault in Cold Harbor. This vault holds a powerful Daedric relic. It absorbs pain and suffering and transforms that into power. Naturally, Mullenball's Daedra really want to get their hands on this thing. You, as the player, need to infiltrate the vault and destroy the Dolores Sista before Mullenball's Daedra can use it for their nefarious purposes.
The trial is going to be really cool. We have a lot of new things that the team is trying and some really exciting rewards.
I know not everyone plays Dungeons and Trials, and a lot of players might be a little nervous to play trials, but I really want to encourage everyone to just jump in. They're really fun, and players are really excited to teach new players the ropes.
Just might blow your... We've got a few more things coming in June, and one that just might blow your mind, especially for our more combat-focused players, and that is subclassing.
Subclassing is a brand new way we've decided to help players build to their player fantasy.
We've gotten a lot of feedback over the years about classes, balance, and especially class change possibilities. We're excited to finally be able to deliver on that feedback. With subclassing, you're going to be able to get much more freedom on how you build your character. Specifically, you're now going to be able to utilize skill lines from other classes, all without having to re-roll a brand new character.
Once a player hits level 50, they unlock for their entire account the capability to add and remove skill lines from other classes that they see throughout Tamriel. If you created a character day one of launch and fall in love with it, you can now experience classes like the Warden.
All right. Listen, I love my Nightblade. I love my character. I'm bored playing Nightblade. I want to play a different fucking class. Oh, I needed that. Oh my god.
Arcanist. You can mix and match and swap those skill lines to build any combination.
That's actually nutty. I kind of want to go gush about it with my guildmaster because I know he's got... Well, I know he's such a build crafter. I know his juices are cooking.
Before we had 7 possible classes to choose from, which you make in your character creation, and now there are over 3,000 different options of combinations for skill lines that exist in the world, and you can...
I'm gonna get Berserk back on my Nightblade! Fuck yeah! Concrete! Oh god, I love that.
Use it with your existing characters.
Now you can really dive into making a character, expressing the way that you think they should play in the game and making it your own, and that's super important to us.
I know a lot of people internally have talked about making an elementalist, taking a little bit from Sorcerer, a little bit from DK, and just sort of blending in that, the fire and the lightning, and that kind of possibility just is so exciting.
My goal with subclassing is going to be to have on screen as many
oh my god, I get to do minion bullshit. That actually sounds like a lot of fun.
critters and companions as...
Oh my god, you can actually do that. I love this. Unironically, this makes me very, very happy.
Possible, and build myself a small army.
Subclassing is...
That actually makes me really excited. Unironically.
Actually going to share all the work you've contributed account-wide for the first time ever. All your skills and progression is account-wide for subclass abilities, and if you haven't...
Let's fucking go, boy. Goddamn. The only thing I still need to level up fully is a goddamn Arcanist.
Played in alternate characters, we have methods to unlock skill lines that you may not personally have experienced. This is only scratching the surface for subclassing. Stay tuned for more.
Our next content release arrives in late summer. We'll continue the Seasons of the Worm Cult story with our big...
Oh my god, with the armor skill... Mwah. I'm so happy.
Ever initiative aimed at bringing the entire community together with a single shared cause.
This is really cool and something we've always wanted to do.
Okay.
Kind of gives new meaning to the phrase hitting the wall, because there's literally a wall dividing the island of Solstice in two. and that's ground zero for this world-changing server-wide event.
Okay.
The first time players see the writhing wall, it's going to stand out. It is this massive conjuration constructed of raw souls that have been blended together into a soul-juice concrete, and it completely blocks off Eastern Solstice, where the Worm Cult is staging their invasion.
To be able to see all the players come together and tackle a challenge that we've never thrown at them before, and that's really going to need all the community behind it.
For the first time, we are going to be inviting all the players on a server to participate in a story together in real time. In the Writhing Wall event, the Fellowship of Stirk has joined forces to stop the Worm Cult invasion of Solstice, but they need players to help. Your activities will have real impacts as you defend the siege camps, improve the camp defenses, and build a weapon that is capable of taking out the Writhing Wall.
Nice.
Being able to see players contribute and fight against lots of nasty stuff coming their way, that's really going to change the world around them.
The goal will be to work together with fellow players to breach the wall from the west and gain access to the eastern half of Solstice. Your mega server's collective effort and activity is really going to dictate how fast that server is going to progress through the phases, which ultimately means players are going to experience the epic final encounter and outcome of the event at different times.
I wonder which server is going to get through first.
Of course, the story doesn't end when you break through the wall. The second half of the Worm Cult saga arrives in our final update of the year, which is in the 4th quarter. You'll head to Eastern Solstice, and while we don't want to spoil too much of what happens here, Tropical Paradise kind of comes to an end. This region's feel and vibe stands in stark contrast to the bright colors of the West. In the East, you'll embark on a journey to unveil the source sustaining the Worm Cult's seemingly limitless army. You'll need to forge new alliances with ancient peoples and prepare your final assault and climactic battle to defeat the Worm Cult threat and its soul-harnessing powers.
That's a lot of new content and new ways for you to be part of the ESO fam. We've also got a new way for you to jump in and play this year, the Content Pass, which for the first time bundles together everything that we're releasing in the year. That means when content launches across any of our 2025 updates, you'll immediately own it and you can enjoy it right away.
Nice.
So, Rich, we have covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, and it's all been exciting and energizing stuff. That, by the way, kicks off today with the Seasons of the Worm Cult Prologue quest that's available right now. As Matt promised, we're embracing change here at Sauce, and we'll continue to push ourselves to make incredible and entertaining experiences that also support our amazing ESO community.
Future seasons in ESO may actually run as long as this year's, or they may be shorter, say 3 or 6 months each. We're also exploring a variety of themes for these, including what we call remix seasons, an approach to a season where we revisit storylines and regions, and maybe we mix things up a little bit. Any hints you want to share on that, Rich?
We know?
Dark Brotherhood.
Anyway, we've got a lot more up our sleeves, including
The Dark Brotherhood stuff is genuinely needs a remaster.
ways to get even closer with all of you in the community so that we can do even more things together.
In fact, stick around for a post-show where we'll share more details on how you can join that conversation, interact directly with us, and have a real voice in the future of ESO.
Elder Scrolls has been part of my life.
With our players and to them,
This community is what in
Continue to
For
This meeting.
like this.
to the play upon 10, gonna be a really
I
there's
don't
gonna be a
care,
lot
I
of
don't care, I don't care, I don't
fallen
care.
in love. You've grown. Gabriel is your even better.
We've built this together for Overalls Online because
Okay. Okay. So thoughts. If nothing else, the subclassing has kind of got me interested. I do feel like I'm compelled to go and wrap up the Gold Road stuff, at least for the time being. I feel more hype about this than I felt for Gold Road, and Gold Road kind of felt like kind of flat for me in terms of storyline stuff. So I'm hopeful to a degree. Like I'm hoping that when I launch this here in a moment that I'm going to have fun and enjoy myself again. At least somewhat. The subclassing stuff is probably going to get me really interested again. Give me options in terms of build crafting, things like that. So it really is going to remain to be seen. So we'll see what ends up happening, right? So on that note, I'm gonna send y'all to end screen Evan. By the way.
Thanks for watching. If you want to talk to me outside of this video, outside of live streams, or just join the community and be a part of it, you can do so at HIMediaTV/Discord. Discord links there. We'd love to have you. And given the financial situation of the economy right now, I know this is a tall ask, but if you have the scratch to spare, please consider donating and becoming a supporter at HIMedia.gg/tip. All of our perks are serviced through our Discord channel, including early access videos, exclusive videos, and more. Your generosity